Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving deep into history to uncover some shocking and lesser-known facts about the Vatican and the Catholic Church's missteps that ultimately led to the Protestant Reformation. We'll also discuss some embarrassing incidents that still occur today. So buckle up, because we're about to reveal 25 mind-blowing facts that will make you question everything you thought you knew about the Vatican and the Catholic Church. 1. The Great Schism. In 1054, a major event known as the Great Schism occurred, causing the division of Christianity into the Catholic and Orthodox churches. This split was primarily due to disagreements over papal authority and theological issues, such as the Filioque clause in the Nicene Creed. 2. The Avignon Papacy. From 1309 to 1377, the Catholic Church experienced a period known as the Avignon Papacy, during which 7 popes resided in Avignon, France, instead of Rome. This relocation caused the papacy to lose prestige and led to accusations of corruption and manipulation by the French monarchy. 3. The Western Schism. The Western Schism, which lasted from 1378 to 1417, saw multiple claimants to the papal throne, resulting in 3 rival popes at one point. This period of confusion and political intrigue greatly damaged the Church's reputation and highlighted the need for reform. 4. The Spanish Inquisition. The Spanish Inquisition, initiated by Catholic monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella in 1478, was infamous for its brutality and persecution of Jews, Muslims, and suspected heretics. Thousands were executed, while many more were expelled from Spain or forcibly converted to Catholicism. 5. The Crusades. Between the 11th and 15th centuries, the Catholic Church endorsed a series of religious wars called the Crusades. While initially aimed at reclaiming the Holy Land from Muslim control, the Crusades evolved into a series of battles driven by political and territorial ambitions, causing immense suffering and loss of life. 6. The Sale of Indulgences. In the late Middle Ages, the Catholic Church began selling indulgences, which were documents promising the remission of sins in exchange for financial contributions. This practice became a significant source of revenue for the Church but was heavily criticized for promoting the idea that salvation could be bought. 7. The Medici Popes. The powerful Medici family of Florence produced 2 popes, Leo X and Clement VII. Both were known for their opulence and excessive spending, which contributed to the financial troubles of the Church and further fueled. 8. Martin Luther's 95 Theses. In 1517, Martin Luther, a German monk and theologian, nailed his 95 Theses to the door of All Saints' Church in Wittenberg. These theses criticized the sale of indulgences and other church practices, sparking the Protestant Reformation and leading to the establishment of various Protestant denominations. 9. The Sack of Rome. In 1527, the city of Rome was brutally sacked by the forces of Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. The attack left much of the city in ruins and marked a low point for the papacy, which was seen as incapable of protecting Rome from invaders. 10. The Council of Trent. The Council of Trent, held between 1545 and 1563, was the Catholic Church's response to the Protestant Reformation. The Council reaffirmed many traditional Catholic doctrines and introduced several reforms to address corruption and abuse within the Church. 11. The Galileo Affair. In 1633, the Catholic Church put Italian astronomer Galileo Galilei on trial for his support of the heliocentric theory, which contradicted the Church's geocentric view. Galileo was found guilty of heresy and placed under house arrest for the remainder of his life. 12. The trial of Giordano Bruno. Italian philosopher and astronomer Giordano Bruno was burned at the stake in 1600 for his heretical views, which included support for heliocentrism, the plurality of worlds, and pantheism. His execution remains a dark moment in the history of the Catholic Church. 13. The Conquistadors and forced conversion. During the colonization of the Americas, Spanish and Portuguese conquistadors often forced indigenous people to convert to Catholicism. This often involved violence, coercion, and the destruction of native cultures and religious practices. 14. The Magdalene Laundries. From the 18th to the late 20th century, the Catholic Church operated Magdalene Laundries in Ireland and other countries. These institutions housed fallen women and forced them to work in harsh conditions as a form of penance. Many of the women were subject to abuse and had their children taken from them. 15. The Vatican Bank Scandals. Throughout the 20th century, the Vatican Bank was involved in several financial scandals, including allegations of money laundering, fraud, and ties to organized crime. These scandals raised questions about the Church's financial practices and transparency. 16. The Church's role in the Rwandan Genocide. During the 1994 Rwandan Genocide, some Catholic priests and nuns were accused of participating in or supporting the massacre of Tutsis. The Church later apologized for its members' involvement in the genocide but did not accept institutional responsibility. 17. The Legion of Christ Scandal. In 2006, it was revealed that Martial Michiel, the founder of the Legion of Christ religious order, had sexually abused seminarians and fathered several children. The scandal led to calls for reform within the Church and raised questions about how such abuse could go unchecked for so long. 18. The Sexual Abuse Crisis. The Catholic Church has been plagued by numerous allegations of sexual abuse by clergy members. Many cases involve the cover-up of abuse by high-ranking church officials, further damaging the Church's reputation and leading to calls for greater accountability and transparency. 19. The Vatileaks Scandal. In 2012, confidential Vatican documents were leaked to the press, revealing corruption, power struggles, and financial mismanagement within the Holy See. The scandal led to the arrest and conviction of Pope Benedict XVI's butler for stealing and leaking the documents. 20. The resignation of Pope Benedict XVI. In 2013, Pope Benedict XVI shocked the world by becoming the first pope to resign in nearly 600 years. His resignation was attributed to health reasons, but many speculated that it was also due to the numerous scandals and crises facing the Church. 21. Pope Francis's reforms. Since his election in 2013, Pope Francis has implemented several reforms aimed at addressing corruption, financial mismanagement, and the sexual abuse crisis. While these efforts have been praised by some, others argue that more needs to be done to ensure transparency and accountability within the Church. 22. The Vatican's role in the Holocaust. The Vatican has been criticized for its role during the Holocaust, with some arguing that Pope Pius XII did not do enough to condemn the Nazi regime and protect Jewish people. The Church has since taken steps to acknowledge its past mistakes and promote interfaith dialogue and understanding. 23. The Canonization Controversies. The Catholic Church has faced criticism for the canonization of certain controversial figures, such as Pope Pius IX, who was known for his anti-Semitic views and the re-establishment of the Roman ghetto. Critics argue that the canonization process should be more transparent and consider the historical context of the individual's actions. 24. The oppression of liberation theology. During the 20th century, the Catholic Church suppressed the development of liberation theology, a movement that sought to address social injustice and poverty in Latin America. Several liberation theologians were censured or silenced, with the Vatican arguing that their views were too closely aligned with Marxism. 25. Ongoing discrimination against women and LGBTQ+ individuals. The Catholic Church continues to face criticism for its teachings on gender and sexuality, which many argue contribute to the marginalization and discrimination of women and LGBTQ+ individuals. While Pope Francis has shown some openness to dialogue on these issues, the Church's official positions remain unchanged. 26. The doctrine of limbo. The Catholic Church's teaching on limbo, a state where unbaptized infants and those who died before the coming of Christ were thought to reside, has been a controversial doctrine throughout history. In 2007, the Church issued a document stating that there are serious theological and liturgical grounds for hope that unbaptized infants who die will be saved, effectively ending the concept of limbo, but the debate continues to this day. 27. The Cadaver Synod. In 897, Pope Stephen VI held the infamous Cadaver Synod, where he exhumed the body of his predecessor, Pope Formosus, and put it on trial for alleged violations of canon law. The bizarre spectacle resulted in the posthumous conviction of Formosus, and it remains a dark and macabre moment in Church history. 28. The Church's opposition to birth control. The Catholic Church's opposition to birth control has been widely criticized for its impact on women's rights, public health, and overpopulation. The Church's teachings on contraception were reaffirmed in Pope Paul VI's 1968 encyclical Humanae Vitae, which remains a contentious document within the Church and among the broader public. 29. The Index of Forbidden Books. Between 1559 and 1966, the Catholic Church maintained an index of forbidden books, which listed works deemed heretical, immoral, or otherwise contrary to the faith. The index included works by prominent thinkers such as Galileo, Voltaire, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Although the index is no longer in force, It remains a symbol of the Church's historical attempts to control the flow of information and suppress dissenting ideas. 30. The Church's stance on capital punishment. For centuries, the Catholic Church supported the use of capital punishment in certain cases. However, in recent years, the Church's stance has evolved to oppose the death penalty in all circumstances. In 2018, Pope Francis revised the Catechism of the Catholic Church to declare that the death penalty is inadmissible because it is an attack on the inviolability and dignity of the person. These 30 facts about the Vatican's dark past and the Catholic Church's missteps illustrate that the Church, like any institution, has faced many controversies and challenges throughout its long history. It is crucial to recognize the progress made by reformers and progressive voices within the Church, who have tirelessly worked to address these issues and advocate for a more compassionate, just, and transparent institution. As we critically examine the past, let us also celebrate the positive changes that have taken place and remain hopeful about the potential for further growth and transformation in the future. Thank you for joining me on this in-depth exploration of the history of the Vatican and the Catholic Church. If you found this information enlightening, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Until next time.